back, spawn of Satan.
Oh, really?
Yes, we are back. We are back in a major way. Turkey Day is far in our rear view, and we are currently in holiday season. Oh man, and have you been surviving so far? It's definitely been.
Survivors haven't.
Exactly right. No rest for the wicked. As you can see, the big bad devil daddy himself, his voice is back. It's better than ever and ready to make your liver quiver. So we're going to be talking about some awesome fucking movies tonight. And, for that reason alone, you need to share this out anywhere and everywhere. There is a horror lover. I don't care if you have to wake the fucking dead. I mean, look, we are here. That's right. So make sure you guys are out there sharing this out, as we are going to be talking about films that are based on real life urban legends, or just legends, period. And it's not what you're probably thinking. This stuff is very much all over the map. And we can't wait to hear some of the ones that you guys love or have loved throughout the decades of horror that have really kind of like been impactful. And let me tell you, there's a lot of them. And some movies, I bet you didn't even know that they were based on some kind of a real legend or happening. So before we get into all this tasty, ooey gooey goriness, we're going to take a quick commercial break to our brother in the UK over at Poison Valley Scareware. Check that shit out. That's right. If you are looking for some of the most spooktacular, original horror designs on any type of apparel, whether you're a t-shirt lover, oh, it's so cold outside, you want to put a hoodie on and possibly a beanie, let David create something fucking fantastic for you. High quality, fast shipping, one low price. You can't beat it. PoisonValleyScareware.com. All right. Good evening, Mr. Dustin. Lizzie, what's going on? And everybody, I can see you watching, so you might as well get your ass in here. I don't know, maybe you're working and you just want to listen to my unholy, beautiful voice. And if that's what you want to do, go for it. And of course, the lovely Mortimer Deadfellow, all so in effect and out of his crypt this evening. So we are talking about movies based on, we didn't really want to say true stories, but these are based on real life situations, legends, or urban legends, if you will.
Urban legends, folklore.
Mm-hmm.
Based
Folklore,
in some form of reality.
Yes. And these ones to me are actually much more terrifying in a lot of ways, because when people think of folklore, they think of vampires, werewolves, all the creatures of the night,
Classic.
as it were. But there are some that are a lot more terrifying than others, in my opinion. So, what do we want to start with there, Brother Mortimer?
Let me see.
Gary Dondo, Sean, what's going up? So good to see you all. Oh, I'm not calling you out. I know you're tired. No worries. I'm glad you're here, Kyler.
Very much so. I say let's start in an interesting way to begin with. One that, like you said, I think is a perfect beginning to not what you would expect for an urban legend. And I would take Fire in the Sky, 1993.
You can't tell me one horror fan, sci-fi fan, that didn't watch this film and go, oh my goodness. And you didn't feel genuinely uncomfortable from this.
Exactly. It was one of the only abduction movies that happened to a guy that nobody can discount any of the evidence that he has. It's like nobody can disprove any of it. So to that end, that would make you go, maybe there's something to it. And what the man describes of what he goes through is what you get in this film. And you get D.B. Sweeney, and you also get Robert Patrick. So you get a little T2 in there, But with it was a very visceral experience of a film. You're right there along with him. It's like it's happening to you. And there's so many stories of alien abductions or cattle mutilations and all those different things, and it's hard to figure out what's fact or fiction with it. And I thought this film was a perfect to lead into our night of festivities.
I mean, we're talking about one of these, very country-esque towns. I believe Alaska, correct?
I would believe so.
I believe it was an Alaskan town, because Alaska has been one of those places where, so much paranormal, or not paranormal. Oh my goodness.
That too.
Extraterrestrial.
Well, both. You're not wrong on both.
Extraterrestrial stuff going on, just constantly being cited. So many cases, and so many of them are practically the fucking same. So you're going to sit there and tell me that this might not have happened? I mean, are we really that shallow to think that we are all that what is existing in this universe, whatever the fuck we want to call it?
I think that's part of it for a lot of people. It's the xenophobia aspect to it, but also, like you said, it's the ego of mankind to think that we're the only thing that's a sentient being or a conscious being in this entire universe. That's a bold statement to make without enough facts to back it up.
Absolutely.
Because we don't have comparisons until we can get out there and meet things.
I mean,
that we've met them. So, it's up in the air, literally.
Yeah, right. So fucking true. Shit, there's been so many comments. This is fantastic. You guys rock. Let's see here. Kyler says these aliens are up there with Xenomorph and the Thing. Yes, absolutely.
Very much so.
But being able to describe the same thing, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6 different people saw the same thing, don't know each other, never had a conversation. And I mean, this goes back to the 80s, guys.
Oh yeah, beyond that.
So this is nothing new. I mean, shit,
you had
it goes back to the 70s now that I think about it.
Men in Black started happening after more and more people's stories of inductions in a from the 60s and then beyond, and it's like it always built up its own urban legend aspect to it, even though there are factual things in some events that you can, and then some are BS, like any good story.
For sure.
But they also tell you don't ruin a good story with the truth.
No, and that's for damn sure. And as we know, Hollywood is very, very well known for hamming up a lot of these true stories. But I kind of feel like they really did their homework on this one. They did the interviews.
Yeah,
I agree. To everyone that was in that crew. To be able to even get this film off the ground, especially at a time where there was so much, you had the X-Files was super fucking popular.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, was cashing in on that.
Yeah.
So, anything from comedy to serious to thriller to psycho thriller, just tons and tons. But this one here, I think, was extra special. So to be, considered part of, that legend, I think that's a great film to step off with, because people still talk about that story to this day.
No, that one bothered the hell out of me.
Yeah, for sure.
It bothered the hell out of me.
Oh man, let me get to some of these comments here. Gary says The Exorcist was based on a true story. As a matter of fact, yes,
it was
very much so. Loosely, they say.
Yes.
Gotta love the word loosely. We're gonna talk about it with
loosely is gonna come up a bit.
Because it's for one that I have coming up later. You'll definitely be like, yeah, for sure. Let's see here. Cody says, hey, what's up, brother? He says, we aren't alone in the cosmos. It's so fucking massive. We barely know the tip of it. And that is so fucking true to this very day. Who knows how far any of these little telescope thingies are going to get before a black hole swallows it up or some shit.
Yep. That's the whole space talk anyway, is black holes and wormholes. So yeah, stuff that destroys matter for what we know. So that's not good.
Let's see what else. The Chucky doll was based on Robert Doll, the most evil doll in the country. That is absolutely true.
Yep.
Most deaf.
I didn't do it. Robert.
Right.
Yeah.
Dustin says, is it wrong that I want real aliens to be like the ones from Mars Attacks?
No.
That would be awesome.
At least we know how to beat them.
Right.
I'd rather fight those than Independence Day.
Oh man. Talk about a Predator. Awesome. I don't
want to be in a Predator's living room as his dinner set piece, I don't really got the skull for that.
Right. But at any rate, we need to move on. Otherwise, we could probably talk about this for fucking ever. Awesome choice.
Thank you.
And it like I said, it'll probably pop up again. And there's a lot of honorable mentions as well. One that I am particularly very staunch on is it's widely known, but I think it's a lesser widely known film to a lot of, let's say, horror lovers over the past 20 years, unless you are just so astute at knowing some of the great classic stories. There is this one film And it was really kind of crazy because they did a remake in the 2000s and it was a PG-13. And I think that's because they just wanted to grab a wider audience like teenagers. Because,
That
you know,
was
the
the thing
success of
going at the time.
Scream,
Yeah.
and shit
Get
like that.
PG-13 money again.
Because if you can get them going in there, that's more money for the box office, as you very well know.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I chose When a Stranger Calls. Now, this film first came out in the 70s. And this is actually based on, and I did some research on this young lady that was a babysitter who went through this nightmarish thing of she just thinks she's babysitting, you know, little Johnny or little Janie.
Right.
And, you know, she's getting calls and she doesn't know where they're coming from. And it's, you know, coming from inside the house. This would be a teenager's like biggest fucking nightmare, right?
Oh yeah, no, completely. You're completely alone, and it's no caller ID.
Nope, no caller ID. There's no cell phones. It's old school telephones. People, you know, the parents are out for the evening. You know, they may have given you a phone number to the restaurant or hotel or wherever the hell they are. But your chances of reaching them like that is definitely not something, you know, that's going to save you unless you have that night owl, you know, sitting outside on their front porch going, I see some weird shit going on. Right. So, and this true story, mind you, they never found her killer, or they say killers. That there could have been more than one, which is where I think the basis for Scream got a lot of its plot. Kind of based off of this. This
well,
film.
It was also, I think, like you're saying there too, exactly with that is I think it was a lot of the whole double killer thing. Babylon. Awesome. But yeah, like the double killer aspect was starting to come up. Yes, like you had it with the freeway killers and the people like that, and it was group killers. It was
Zodiac killer.
People. I wouldn't disagree with it. I don't know. I still kind of think it could have been the Unabomber, but that's me. Well, he was there. There's a lot of things for him that fit with that. He was there and all that stuff during the time of that stuff, but different show. Anyway, but no, but I agree with that. I think this is a perfect one because that's one of the things you always hear about is getting the phone calls from somebody, you know, oh, I'm gonna hit, you know, I'm in, you know, and that's a very old urban legend thing that happens a lot. And I think that was a great call. That's a great choice.
Yes, thank you. And you know, to everybody out there in the Morgrat universe, if you haven't gotten down to this film, I would watch the original before. I mean, not that the remake was bad, it just didn't capture the true horror of what this lady went through.
Also, in my opinion, but
that first rate. You could see the fear. You could see the fear.
Exactly. It's like different kind of acting. Yeah, and it's more theatrical but more real at the same time. Exactly. It's training yourself to be able to pull those emotions out there like that a lot. Not all actors, granted, because there's some that are amazing, but you know what I mean? A lot of them nowadays, if they're not on that level, they'll phone it in or act completely weird. And it looks like they're overacting. When they're not overacting, they're just bad acting.
Yep.
It was because they're not thinking about what their character would do or things like that. But yes, no, I feel you on that. You're in it with her. Like the fear building up and I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Like, yeah, the terror that builds up. It's a great film. Way ahead of its time, too.
Oh, I definitely, you know, I feel the same way about that. Not to mention, you know, you think about when that transpired, and then again, art imitates life, you know what I
Yep.
mean?
You
And
get the
it
boom
brings
of the
that
serial
story
killers
to
and
life. And that's
women.
been
Yep.
like I'd say every babysitter's worst fear.
Yep. Well, that was Richard Ramirez. That's what he ended up being. You know, it was the same thing. Exactly. It was the same kind of thing. You know, it was a time frame of like films like this coming out where, like in the 50s and the 60s, you would never think of somebody ever coming into somebody's house and doing horrific things to them until Manson and all that stuff broke all those things. And like you said, as soon as that got broke through life, films started getting amped up and amped up and amped up to represent what was happening.
And that's exactly why I say true crime was born a long time ago. This is not a new thing. They just decided to fill the constant need for those that love stories like this.
Well, I mean,
which is fine.
I mean, think about the Untouchables.
It could help save lives, you know.
That's true crime, the Untouchables.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's Al Capone, Elliot Ness, but Elliot Ness also retired because he wasn't allowed to capture the butcher of Kingsbury Run.
Yep.
Who was literally cutting up people into torsos and got told to let him go because he was a rich guy.
Right.
And he said, you know what? Forget you. I'm done with this. I quit.
Oh, man.
And that was the end of Elliot Ness. Because of connections and protecting a murder. Yeah, that's a whole thing, but it's the same thing. Exactly. It's like true crime was long ago, and people want to see it. That's why we know what happened to Caesar.
Right.
Because, you know, it's like people wanted to talk about it.
You
just don't want it to happen to you.
What do we got next on the chopping block?
Okay. See, on this one, I thought I would, for some more of our, I would say younger listeners compared to us, is I'm going to give them a little bit of Mr. Depp. And I'm going to give them The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
That's actually not the accurate poster because I'm not sure. I think 2 films came out at the same time. Excuse me. So I wasn't sure if it was that one or the other one, but either way.
Oh, yeah. No, it still gets the point across. Because the main reason that I say it, minus I do like that the one I'm talking about is the Johnny Depp one.
Yes.
But period, I love the story of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. But the thing is how we were saying, where there's truths in there, there's the town of Sleepy Hollow. There's the grave of everybody
that was involved.
That's in the story. Everybody, they're buried right there. It's like you want to see the bridge. It's right there.
Yep.
And it's exactly where legend is, like story, real life, and the paranormal, superstitions, literally, who's the important person in society to be around. Oh, I can't be seen with Ichabod. He's a coward. I want the big built dude. You know, there's so many levels to this one story. But in parts, people know it happened.
Yes.
They at least know that people existed, you know?
Well, and, you know, and it's like anything with a legend like this. With every legend, there is some truth to it. There is truth laid up in there somehow. Can we literally walk back into time? No. All we know is that, you know, back in those days, it was all about writing shit down.
Yep.
So historically, it's there, you know. Dustin says, I live about 30 minutes away from it. Love the story. Great village to visit. I'm sure Halloween around there is like,
oh yeah,
fucking
exactly
smorgasbord.
But it's also the other reason I had to pick this one is so many high level actors that I enjoy, including, of course, Christopher Lee. But that was the whole thing. It was like, yes, it was Tim Burton doing it, but he was still trying to tell you the legend of Sleepy Hollow. With going farther than what the Disney one that we all saw growing up did.
Oh shit.
But
I
it
didn't
still started
even,
it.
you know what? I didn't even, that wasn't my introduction. My introduction was the fucking book.
Oh, well, see, well, that's the thing. That's
You know,
exactly, for some people it's the Disney one. Sometimes it's just being told it. Sometimes it's reading the book. It's like that's a thing. It's like that's why I had to pick this one. It's got such a
so much
history to
rich
it.
history. Yes.
Yes, and films,
Yeah.
you know,
Literally.
and it's like books and stories. It's inspired so many things and so many retellings.
Mm-hmm.
I had to.
Babylon says, I was thinking about moving to Sleepy Hollow, but holy hell, you better be a millionaire. You goddamn right. It's not
Oh,
easy when you
love it.
move to a historical town. I mean, if you look at the prices of, you know, the homes in Salem, Massachusetts, with every famous person that was involved in the witch trials, they have placards on all the homes that say this was the home of.
Mhm.
You better get ready to be in the 300,000 to 500,000 range, if not
Oh
more.
yeah, and then you can't change it.
Nope, can't
Yep.
change that shit because it's historical.
Yep. So you better get, you know, if you're going to be buying houses, buy one that you can do
Mhm.
whatever you want to, and then buy a historic one. You can't
Dude.
touch it.
Cody has a vinyl that Boris Karloff is reading the Sleepy Hollow story.
Oh, that would be
Oh, that's
awesome.
amazeballs, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh
dude,
yeah.
a one bedroom, Cody, a one bedroom apartment right now in Salem, Massachusetts is $1,000 a month. So trust me, I looked into it. That probably what 6
See,
years
we
ago,
all just need to
probably.
compile money,
So
pick a place, and do it together.
we need to get the what do you call it?
Artist commune.
The compound of darkness where everybody can live together.
Right? We can have a moat.
We
And
just have this
everything.
whole, you know, fucking shit laid out.
What's that giant thing behind you? Oh, that's our film studio.
Right.
It's really dark in there.
Let's take a quick commercial break because I got to let my wife in. Check out Horror Struck hot sauce, hotter than hell. Check it out. That's right. You know what to do. Get over there to horrorstruckhotsauce.com and get you some amazing horror-based hot sauce for your Yule season. Now, on to the next film in our series of films based on real life legends or urban legends. Now, since we're kind of, you know, kind of in the same realm a bit, you know, as far as years that some of these films. Now, I'm not doing these in any particular order,
Of course.
but this one I feel like I have got to talk about because this one, most of everybody knows that like the 70s and the early 80s, the great heyday of the creature feature.
Very much so.
Okay. And this one is no exception. And I remember watching it in the afternoon on one of my favorite horror hosts at the time, which was known as Superhost. You would have loved him. He was a very heavy set version of Superman. So that was like his shtick. He would dress up as Superman and always had a red tip on his nose, but the whole rest of his nose was always red. So you knew he was an alcoholic.
So he was pretty funny.
He was pretty hilarious, but he brought me all the classics.
Right. There you go.
This is no short of it. Because everybody saw Jaws. Everybody was in love with Jaws. but damn it, you didn't think about what would happen if you flushed an alligator baby down the toilet. And we're talking about the original
Yeah.
film, Alligator. You want to talk about practical effects? There was no CGI in this motherfucker. And let's for a second, let's just talk about the amazing special effects people who were doing the sounds of when this alligator would clamp down on one unsuspecting, people that were about to become lunch. And you could just hear like bones just snapping.
Yeah. Well, no, exactly.
God.
That's the thing. It's like they didn't hold back on the Foley for that at all. Yeah.
Oh no, not at all.
Stellar
Fucking
choice.
yeah. But most
the
people
story.
don't realize that there was something going on down in Florida where people were actually flushing these motherfucking alligator babies down the toilet.
And they were surviving.
They were surviving, and they had a little bit of an epidemic going on. So now, not necessarily that it grew to unimaginable, fucking size, but damn it, if you were a homeless person at that time and your home was hanging out in the sewers, you were a fucking meal. I mean, if you were an unsuspecting city worker that's working in those tunnels, you would have became dinner. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't know it's there and it suddenly jumps out, what are you going to do? Say, hi, don't eat me?
When bad pets go bad, dang.
Exactly. And, that's why I think people started to, after they watched this movie, every time they went to the bathroom, they would
start checking the bowl.
They would check their fucking toilet just to make sure, because you've heard fucking tales about fucking boa constrictors coming out of the pipe work.
Oh yeah, snakes do that all the time
down there. So people of Florida, beware. Who knows what the fuck's coming out of your toilet?
Yeah, no, that's a great one. Yeah, because I mean, it really was. It was a big.
It was a thing.
Everybody's no, that can't happen. Oh, there's alligators in the sewers. People flush them, and it's like, oh no, that's fake. That's a story. No, somebody did it. A couple people did it, and it became.
It was legit. Like it was kind of running rampant.
Yeah, and then the film
were doing this
off on it
because kids were, all of us kids were enamored by fucking wildlife. So that included amphibians. And when you're down there, by the Everglades, it's not too far fetched that you'd find one of these cute little guys running around your backyard.
Oh yeah.
Little Sally, goes picks one up and says, "Hey, I want to keep it as a pet." And the next thing you know, Dad's comes home from work. He's pissed off. I don't want this thing in my house. What's the first fucking thing they do? Throw it down the fucking toilet, because back in those days, people didn't give a fuck, man.
True.
That's just how they got rid of
works
shit.
For a goldfish, it can work for a gator. That's kind of it,
Exactly.
But it's like buying the rabbits for kids for Easter. Oh, it's cute. You want to get the pictures, but it ain't going to last, and you're going to get sick out of the rabbit.
Right.
So it's like, take pictures with the rabbit, but don't buy the rabbit.
Babylon says, make it a compound and make it a religion type thing, so you don't have to pay taxes. Oh, what are we going to be? The next Branch Davidians? Come on now.
We'll make it no smoking.
Right. We'll make it non-smoking. Cody says Lake Placid was my first similar type movie.
Another good one. Same kind of vibe, though, to that end.
Right.
Very much so, yeah.
Lizzie says, pet it. It just wants a little snacky snack. I'm not petting that fucking thing. Nice.
She's
try.
not either.
All right, next up.
Okay, I'm gonna say this one for me is kind of on the spookier side. And that would be The Ritual, 2017.
I know I have it. Just hold on. There we go.
Yes. This film surprised me greatly. Greatly. I thought I was going to watch more of a dramatic version of Without a Paddle, because if people have seen that film, it's the basis is a group of friends lose a friend and decide to do something to cheer themselves up in honor of that friend. Same thing kind of happens with this film. They just decide to go into the Swedish wilderness and end up coming against something that I don't really want to say because I can't really say. And that's the beautiful part about this film, is you got to figure out what's going on, and it keeps you guessing. It keeps you full of suspense and dread throughout the film.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to give them credit for also using the great expanse that you're in was like you got that epic wilderness openness. Where are you going to go?
Right.
And the problem is when you think that the wilderness is alive itself, you have nowhere to go.
Talk about a fucking, like
it's a feeling you get that it's something beyond a creature.
Mm-hmm.
It's beyond a presence. It's a really amazing film. I totally recommend it. I recommend them all.
The fact that they based it on, Norse mythology makes it all the sweeter, because, there are so many people that are like, oh, I'm a Viking. I watched Vikings, Ragnar Lothbrok, but they don't know all the little gory details of of the Norse people and their urban legends and
mm-hmm.
The darker side of what it means to be on the warrior path. Yep, you're absolutely right there, Cody. It was Norse based, which made it badass. And it's cool that they would bring this type of legend to the forefront, because in every, pagan belief, there's always these really cool legends that kind of pop up if you really are into it and want to learn about all these little things.
Oh yeah, I mean the Irish traditions have them, Druids have them. I mean, you name
Druids, big time shit.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's nature. It's a being of nature, not created by nature. It's of nature, and we think as human beings we got a really good hold on what is nature and what's man and what's this and what's that, and I don't think we do. And this film kind of explores that.
Oh yeah, it's like ancient Sumeria and Hermetics and all of, just because people say they're dead religions or they're dead practices doesn't mean they don't exist,
Yeah, it doesn't mean they weren't right either.
Right. Exactly.
It's like they like to, like, you look at it like that for the Romans and people like that back then. It's like that was, 3 BC before then. And people think people didn't know anything back then, but we're still trying to study with the scientists and technology we have to figure out things that they knew back then. That was common practice. So who's smarter? It's us trying to catch up. We do have new stuff and new inventions and new creations, but there's things that we still have no idea.
Oh, for sure.
And that for me is how this film dwells in that. And in like you said, for parts of the Norse culture that you wouldn't normally be experienced to, but because you'd be getting Thor and Odin and everything like that. And there's some things that lurk in the shadows that are really scary things.
Exactly.
We're
but a footnote on a very, very big playing field.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the easiest way to put that. Let's see. Next for me, I'm gonna roll with. Well, no, I'm gonna save that one for last, especially because it's the Yule season. But obviously, one of my most favorite times of the year is Halloween, and I know people are gonna be like, Reaper, why are you putting this up? There's no urban legend here, but actually, in fact, there is. That this was a very long standing practice. There are still people that are superstitious about this to this day. And this is one of the most beloved horror films of recent years, too. Cult status.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everybody, Sam, everything. Sam is everywhere and anywhere.
The number one thing to dress your kid up as.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, my son dressed up as him this year too.
See,
the year before it was my daughter. So
there you go. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's an iconic character, though. But I see what you're saying, though. That it's steeped in urban legends within that one film.
But the biggest one, and the one that is recognized the most, is the whole Sam reason for Sam being Sam. If you are a pumpkin crusher, if you are somebody that blows out the candle, the superstition is if you blow out the candles in a pumpkin on Halloween night, you're destined for death.
yeah. See, and that's exactly, it's like that with the bad candy, the dangerous candy and all that other kinds of things. They said pumpkin smashing and all that other stuff. It's like,
that's a major no-no.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's beautiful about this film for me is you're rooting for him.
You go ahead, Babylon. He says he's about to slam some gummies and a shot of Jaeger. Ooh, what a trip you'll be on, sir. And shame on you. He says he has not seen this film. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no.
This is now part of your homework, Babylon.
Yep.
You must watch this film.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, honestly, we could do an entire episode on this, and I think we should at some point, because that's one of the things I love about anthologies is how they tie in together, whether they're focused on a different attribute, but somehow the people within cross paths, or they're a part of this killing machine, if you will.
Right. Well, I mean, it's to me, it's more kind of comeuppance.
Big time.
Because people that are good and observing the holiday and, trick-or-treating and, having fun, going out, taking their kids out, parties, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He don't mess with at all.
Nope.
It's the people that got it coming. It's you look at it like that.
And they fucking deserve it.
Exactly. And those are the kind, it's like, if this person's going after a bad guy, the bad guy's not going to make it out.
That's why in the 80s, I was always like, I loved it in some of the films where people would get killed by one of the blockbuster workers because, they always have the sign that says, "Be kind, rewind." And people always turn it in and it's not. And then suddenly, you get a fucking VHS tape stuck in your head.
Yeah. Yeah. Those were great.
I was like, I love that shit.
But that's a really good aspect to that, though.
Oh no, Babylon. I'm not sure where we went wrong here, but he says, "What if you have sex with the pumpkin while it's still lit?" You probably still would have an issue with Sam, I believe.
And also, I think you would have to go to the ER for a birth tip. Because that wouldn't be candy corn anymore.
No, sir. Next up for Mortimer.
Well, I'm going to have to say that even though Thanksgiving has passed us, I still sometimes, you get that gnawing feeling.
Oh, sure.
And I'm going to have to pick Ravenous.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a film this is.
Oh, it's
And
pretty hardcore.
well, that's the interesting part about it is I actually went and had a steak after the first time I watched this movie.
Nice.
And it was not that done of a
That's
steak.
Texas
And I
thing
don't
to
usually
do.
do that. The movie has that effect on you a little bit.
Sure.
But the way that
You
I
feel a little
liked
hungry?
it, especially as it ties in two stories, both one true event, but also one that is in legend. As in this one, you get basically the Donner Party, and the eating people, cannibals, that turns into being cursed by the Wendigo. So, and the thing that got me so much is they did all that in a Civil War film.
The most unlikely of situations.
Exactly. You wouldn't have expected it, but it fit.
I was going to say, when you think about it, though, how fitting is that, considering what they were doing?
Exactly, and what he went through and everything like that. And then you have so many people again in this film too. I mean, think about it. You've got Guy Pearce.
Yep.
You got Robert Carlyle. I love him. And I liked him. First time I saw him was Full Monty. Yeah, but he's great. I loved him. Same thing with Guy Pearce. But you've got David Arquette shows up in it.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all these different people that show up in this film, but it's really more still of like the old school me versus him.
Yep.
You literally had the good guy and the bad guy just coming together on more than one occasion, not, oh, we're going to fight once and it's over.
Yeah, and not like your
battle of the
typical,
mind
like
and
your
the will.
typical Hollywood kind of thing. Yeah, it's kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Predator.
Mm-hmm.
They met more than once because that's what it was. It was feast or
It had
famine.
to build up to that final
Survive or die.
confrontation.
Yeah, because
exactly.
you're getting to know your adversary at this point because you've had multiple meetings. You're kind of picking up a sense of what type of predator that he is.
Well, no, exactly. It's the same kind of aspect. No, you're right. It's like, and that's what it was too, really, because both of them studied each other to try to see how they ticked, how to beat them.
The wit.
Exactly. The battle of will.
Yeah. That's
but it's
really
like,
what this film comes down to.
How far would you go to beat this guy because he's evil? How far will you go?
Right. And how, when you take away all of what I guess you would consider to be humane, how, and then you're taken to your most primal self.
Yeah.
That is almost, I think, a blueprint for someone to ascend to becoming a Wendigo.
Yeah.
This is not a new idea. Everybody out there in the morgue right
now. Yeah,
no. The idea of the Wendigo goes back to beginning of time.
Thousands of years. Yeah, thousands and thousands of years.
In
multiple cultures.
In multiple cultures, and in no way, shape, or form any different than the idea of the lycanthrope.
Yep. Well, it's the same thing. It's giving into that primal. We're always taught in society you have to act a certain way because proper society is this way.
Civility. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You can't let out the beast because if you let out the beast will, kill all and do that, but that's not always the case because they don't do that. If you watch beasts, they don't do that. They're smarter than that.
No, they wait until they have to.
Yeah.
They don't just do it for fun.
If you're hungry, you go and get food or you make yourself something to eat.
Right.
They don't have that ability.
No.
The only problem is we're easier to kill most of the time than things on four legs because they kick harder than we do. And they run faster than we do. We're easy.
And their strength and power. Oof.
But that's the same thing as the aspect of the Wendigo. If you consume someone, you take their strength into you.
Mm-hmm.
And this
film, not advocates for this, by the way, just letting you know.
Not at all. It's just a film and history. Oh no, too chewy. But to the,
I love it.
got tongue tied, funny enough.
At least you still have it. You know,
Tongue is what's for dinner. But I mean, that's exactly the aspect. This film, it doesn't shy away from it in the aspect of too, you're in very bad like nature survival situations to where it is your only thing to do. As
especially if you're in a garrison.
Exactly. You're put to that do it or don't. And that's what's explored in this film under war conditions as well. And yes, we don't support it. Not on that end. No, not the schmanibalism. Yeah.
I love
great film. Great film.
Lizzie says, I don't know if cannibalism even necessarily denotes a lack of humanity. That's the taboo talking. And I will actually agree with her there to a certain point, because
to a certain
point, because you know there are still tribes around the world that
it's part of people's culture. Yeah,
exactly.
This. Yeah.
So
no, you're being fair. No, I understand that. It's
don't go to those places. Stay away from those places.
Let them do them. Okay.
Let them do their thing. You know, you don't want to be headhunted.
Exactly. You don't want to be what's for dinner.
Green Inferno.
Oh, you don't. There you go. Another good one.
That's a big no-no.
And why dine out when it comes to you?
Right. Next on my list is one of the most widely talked about multiple sightings throughout. I'm pretty sure it does go back to, like, let's say the early 1900s, even maybe late 1800s. But there has been sightings of this particular being, ghostly, if you want to refer to it as that, as it is sometimes. And I think it is an ethereal a being that has kind of is like a psychic version of a ghost that's basically letting you know that something terrible is going to happen to you before it happens, or that you've made a severely bad choice. This is one of those legends that I've always kind of felt was one of the most believable ones, because, you know, when everyone's always saying, hey, you know, look for, you know, not to get on a whole religious, you know, stance, but, you know, they're always saying, look for signs. There's always signs to let you know. And in nature, we have signs all the time.
Yep.
That because of what they represent. And 9 times out of 10, you know, if you are connected, as most of us are, you know what to look for. Well, in this case, he's kind of the bringer of death. And we're talking about the Mothman and the entire mysterious kind of thing surrounding. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
you know, he's been represented by the death head moth, you know, pretty much always.
Yeah.
That's always kind of been the thing. Now, of course, you know, modern horror films can depict him looking way more hideous or way more scary. But what the scariest thing about this legend is, this doesn't come after you. It just shows up at one of the most pertinent times, and you don't even know why. You could be the happiest motherfucker on the planet, and maybe you're on your way to this great trip or something like that, or you're coming back from a great business meeting that went well, or maybe, you know, you and your significant other went on holiday, and then all of a sudden this fucker shows up super fast, basically winks at you.
Yeah.
That's what I like to say anyway. Winks at you, and then the next thing you know, car wreck.
Yep.
Someone's dead. Or suddenly the very next day you find out so-and-so has been diagnosed with cancer, or just any number of abominable things that can suddenly impact your life, and you're like,
a true doom bringer.
I saw that. I literally just saw this thing. And then what's the first thing that people do? You see it in all the movies where, they're like, I seen this thing. And then, because of the internet, we're going to scour the internet and try to see what can we find out about this thing. Has other people seen this thing? And it's got a paper trail, fucking miles long on this legend. And how is that so hard to believe? I don't find it, in my opinion, to be hard to believe. I don't believe it's a physical plane being. You know what I'm saying? I think Mothman is an ethereal, almost kind of ghostly like thing that shows up and just basically lets you know death is coming, or that
exactly. It's like with Mothman, for more of any of the cryptids and legends like that, it is tied to more than one thing.
It is.
It's
a series of events.
Exactly. You've got to where, like you say, it shows up for doom.
Basically, yeah.
It's literally, it lets you, it's a harbinger of doom. And then also, too, you have alien ties to it.
That's true as well.
That's when the Men in Black first started showing up, actually, was after Mothman. Not Roswell, was after Mothman. And the bridge, the bridge collapse. And all these different sightings by the TNT hill and everything. Yeah, you had all these different things, but also, like you said, too, there's also been aspects to it to where it's been seen other than just Point Pleasant.
Yeah, right.
It's been seen across the world for years, like long before.
I would say Babylon, biblically, no, not. This is not a biblical thing. He says maybe that ties into the angel of death.
Well, maybe
I don't.
It's more of. I wouldn't say like biblical aspect of it, but if like a winged harbinger of death, it is, but I wouldn't tie it to any religion.
No, and that's what that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's tied to any.
I don't think it is either. I really don't. I haven't seen any research.
Don't even, from what I've read about it.
Yeah,
there isn't any kind of like religious
ghost deal or the ghost aspect to it, the harbinger of doom, the alien aspect to it. Did we create it? Because you have people that think that the government made it.
Sure.
So it's one of those ones that it's the only cryptid that I can possibly think that's even close to him is Bigfoot. On popularity and been around in so many different cultures too, talking about this same kind of thing. That did the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's something that lives in the ether.
Yeah,
the other side, where souls go. Not purgatory or anything like that. I just think, I always kind of feel like we live in parallel worlds, that there's something beneath it than what is reality physically. What we can see.
Oh yeah, I've seen some crazy shit.
Well, shit, it's not like the fantasies in the book. I think it's something much. Yes. The void. Exactly. The void.
But that's kind of, it's kind of an aspect I would agree to that too, though, that it's more, I would consider it a denizen of the void, really.
Yes.
Because it's its own thing. It's like, it's not like the dog man is more or less a werewolf. It's like, or this is, that's a big fish man, or Bigfoot's a Bigfoot, or it's a Bigfoot in a different place, or it's snowy Bigfoot,
Yeah, but
Mothman
Bigfoot is legit.
Mothman.
It's a Neanderthal that never evolved.
That'd be scary.
That's a simple one. It is scary.
Well, a normal grown Neanderthal man could have literally been hit by a 45-mile-an-hour car crash and got back up.
Yeah.
We can't do that. It's like we got smarter, but we didn't get tougher, so.
And
I mean, they show Bigfoot
very much an environmental thing.
So,
truly. Your last pick, sir. Man, we got some good ones tonight.
See, I figured on this level that since I knew I was going to get a little munchy crunchy with Ravenous, that I would decide on the last one to leave people with a little bit of joy and a little bit of drink. And I picked the Leprechaun, 1993.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Because it ties so many things together. Yeah, it's like the Fae, the Leprechaun have been around literally for thousands of years. You can't beat the age of that.
No.
And also played amazingly by Warwick Davis.
Oh, yeah.
Jennifer Aniston's first movie.
Which absolutely cracks me the fuck up.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
He never talks about it, never wants to talk about it.
But it's funny because you started out in a comedy and now your big thing is making comedies with Adam Sandler. Just he pays better.
Or Vince Vaughn.
Or Vince Vaughn, yeah. Well, pays better. It's the same thing, it pays better. But that was the aspect there too, though. Because there was so many different ways this could have gone.
Yep.
And realizing, okay, this needs to be funny and horrific at the same time is what saved it. Letting Warwick Davis go crazy. Exactly.
For those of you that are casino lovers, they're not cute. They don't just have this nice little pot of gold and they're just waiting to throw money at you. They want to destroy you. They want to rip you open. They want to kill you in unimaginable ways. They are not to be fucked with.
And they're definitely not magically delicious. Or it reminds me of the film Movie 43.
Oh, shit.
Where you get to see Gerard Butler as a leprechaun. Right. Oh, yeah, come over here and I'll bust your fucking head. Show you how he really feels about you. Yeah. But it's the same with that. It's like, it's almost akin to Wishmaster. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get any wishes. He wants his gold back. And you already screwed up by taking it.
Yep.
So you give me gold.
And now, that's an honorable mention that you just mentioned right there, is the Wishmaster, the legend of the Jinn that, Disney had a nice little fun play with that, you rub the lamp and, television, early television in the 50s, I Dream of Jeannie.
Yep.
A sexy woman's not coming out of the lamp. It's going to be something that is got you deadlocked.
Oh, yeah.
You will die in unimaginable death. The curse upon everyone you know.
Amusement. Yes. But exactly, and that's why I had to go for Leprechaun, because it's such an iconic film. It is iconic. Popcorn, laugh, have a blast. How many sequels it has spawned? It's just crazy,
Mm-hmm. Babylon says you better leave a saucer of milk, tobacco, or treats on your front porch, or they will get your ass.
Well,
that is so true. He goes on to say that the Jinn are some evil creatures. Yes, they are. Oh, yeah. They're magical demons that prey upon the fact that, people wish for so much. And the idea of wishing goes all the way, the sands of time.
Oh, yeah. Past fairy tales.
Oh, yeah. That peasant or that slave that were in their predicament, that's when the Jinn would come.
Yep. When you're at your worst.
Oh, man. Oof.
Yep.
Don't fuck with them. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Nope. So, of course, I had to save this legend for last. and this one is so appropriate for the time. You know, everyone, when they think of Grimace, as I like to call it, it's the fat guy in the white beard and the red suit, and he's the one picking and choosing, you know, who's naughty and who's nice, and that the naughty kids would, you know, end up with a big old lump of coal. And that was what was supposed to keep, you know, kids being good. Now, mind you, this whole idea of this, you know, holiday, because Yule is a little bit different. It's about keeping all the bad, evil spirits away. And that's, you know, what I celebrate.
Right.
We're looking for abundance. We're not looking for, oh, what can you give me?
Right. Well, that's
know.
the thing is it was supposed to be the sense of giving that turned into the sense of greed.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Well, you know, all the way over in Germany, you know, there was always the legend. And let's not forget that St. Nicholas also comes from Germany.
Yeah.
But, you know, then again, people don't do their research. But anyway, there is a fate that can await the naughty ones. That there is what is known as a Crimis demon. And this legend goes back to
way back.
So fucking far back, people.
Mm.
Legit. If you do your research on this particular being, and if you're naughty, you're gonna get your ass kicked. You're gonna get fucked up, and then he's gonna eat you. We're talking about the legend of Krampus. How could we not talk about this legend? So rich in history. Yeah. Man, I gotta say, when, you know, every year when my Facebook page lights up with the Krampus Festival, over I think the ones I normally see are in Austria. There's a lot of really, you know, I mean, they light up the whole, ooh, man, the whole town. They shut down the streets, and it's nothing but Krampus cosplay.
Awesomeness. Yeah, that's awesome.
You can't even tell me where or how. From what I understand, most of them make their costumes. And I'm just like, get the fuck out of here.
Oh, yeah.
You made this costume. It looks so real. They can speak, the jaw moves, whole 9 fucking yards. I'm like, you need to be working for film companies over there. That's what you need to be doing.
Well, it's also, you know, it's like you said, they're doing their research. It's their culture. They're showing their passion.
Yes,
they're showing their, you know, you're not going to take him from us kind of thing. And I understand that.
Like, fuck, you know, because, you know, I mean, when you think about it, America, this would never fly.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, they're into beating the kids' asses if they're bad, but not really the point of, you know,
oh, no. Now, wait a minute. I think, you know, the United States has been denuded a little bit in the parent realm.
Well, nowadays, yeah. Yeah. We grew up in the, oh, you're going to go say something wrong and oops, because you got the back of your head popped, but not in a bad way or an abusive way.
You didn't go to school with fat lips and fucking.
Exactly. No, it wasn't.
Everyone says that's how it turns out, though. It's like, well, but you weren't there. So right. How do you know?
Well, that's the thing, because it's going to be different for everybody, but it's the same thing. Because even if you look at it with that, and a lot of the legends, Santa and Krampus work together. Who do you think's dealing out the coal and the you know, the whippings with the sticks? It's not Santa Claus. He's delivering the present.
Yes, exactly right. So that was kind of the whole idea, guys. You know, everybody out there in the Morgrat universe. One of the things, you know, especially in the cult or the occult. Sorry, not the cult. that is widely talked about is having the balance of darkness and light.
Mhm.
Here is a prime fucking example of this.
Exactly. Yeah.
You have the darkness, which is Krampus.
Mhm.
And then you have the light, which is Saint Nicholas. Okay.
Yep.
And this isn't even a religion thing. This is
Nope.
just, these were two beings that kind of, they were part of the same coin, but they were polar opposites.
Exactly.
Right?
But it's also, as I
And it was
said,
necessary.
Winter Festival.
No.
It's bringing, it's taking in and also the death in winter, the cold. You're bringing in the dark light, but you're also having the fire and the cozy and people coming together and surviving it. And as I said,
and that was the balance. That was the purpose for burning the Yule log.
Exactly.
And the Yule log can't go out, because if it does, that's when the bad spirits come in. That's when the bad energies come in. Your abundance shrivels up.
You see people that'll take Krampus, right, that don't understand it and go, oh, he's the devil. No.
Immediately.
He's not the devil. Okay, they may shop at the same store and go to the same hairstylist, but they're not the same person, or the same being. And Krampus isn't bad. He was never meant to be bad to that aspect.
No, he was just the one that was in charge of the naughty.
Yeah, he was doing his job. Same as Santa's doing his job. Nobody busts Santa's balls for doing his job.
Nope.
But they want to do that to Krampus. I am not pissing that guy off. Look at him. It's like I've met him at an office party. He can be a real pain if you're not careful.
Absolutely. Oh, Babylon says modern Christmas is such a money grab and destroyed so many folks financially and physically. Absolutely, because the labor force is really who suffers through this holiday.
So. Yeah, very much so.
It's just uncanny to me. Lizzie says, and mentally, starting in October, which I agree with this 1000%. By the time it gets here, who even cares anymore? I'm like, this is consumerism at its best. Now, mind you, because obviously it's Halloween, I don't give a flying fuck if we start seeing it in September. Shit. The end of August, I don't even mind.
Right.
Motherfucker, let's go. I mean, one day I hope to see it in stores 365, 24/7. But, the moment fucking, towards middle of August or middle of October, Mariah starts chirping.
Yep. And that's the whole thing for me about it. Is it's like it starts in October and don't end until next year. Because it'll still get played through New Year's.
Which makes no fucking sense, because
I agree.
New Year's has nothing to do. Nothing.
Exactly. Zero. It's about drinking and watching a ball drop.
I
can get drunk and sit on my toilet and watch the ball drop.
This is the point of when you are supposed to be setting those goals, those manifestations. You are raising that energy. All your crystals are aligned, and
trying to bring in the good. Yeah.
You're trying to bring in that good, and here it is. People are still, it's still Christmas. No, it's not.
Yeah.
You stupid fucks. It's the time you're supposed to get to work and make these manifestations come, to you.
Put your work in so you can have a good next year.
Exactly fucking right. Yeah. But, the consumer gods, they don't believe in this.
Well, it's a thing, it's just you get raised, believe it over and over, driven into your head. You're taught that's the way things are. It's really hard to break that cycles, but people can.
Oh, Babylon, we love you so much, man. That is just ridiculous.
I don't disagree with you, Babylon.
I'm not disagreeing with that either, but yeah, he says, whoops, he forgot this wasn't the goddamn show.
It's one of them, but not the one.
Right, exactly. So, the legend of Krampus, I think everyone needs a little bit of him in their lives because let's face it, what is more terrifying than walking into Spirit Halloween and there's Krampus holding a child upside down who's crying and screaming like he's about to get eaten? That is what sets you right.
Oh, yeah. Because that kid's going to be
It's
real
like,
good on Christmas
be a good
year
fucking human. Be a good fucking human. What is wrong with? I don't see anything wrong with this.
I don't either.
Man, you guys have been awesome tonight. Excellent fucking selections. There was only one honorable mention that I wanted to do real quick before we go off. Because I too am a huge fan of, some of these prolific extraterrestrial stories.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one that moved me, even more so than Fire in the Sky, because I was a huge fan of that as well. And it's not just because Mila Jovovich is in it from Resident Evil, but I felt like she nailed this part to the wall. She did so well. And that was the movie The Fourth Kind.
Yes.
It was almost it almost felt more realistic because sure, you saw some, sentient beings run off with her child. But it was more focused on how they were able to tap into her and this other group of people that have been, fucked with by the aliens, if you will. And it brought it down to a more realistic kind of situation.
Like traumatized. It's like, you had
the level of trauma there.
Oh, yeah.
It put her in a wheelchair for life.
Yeah.
To this very day.
Yeah.
And her story hasn't changed one fucking bit.
Exactly. That's the other thing.
And neither has her condition.
Telling your story for 20, 30 years, and you've been questioned and questioned and questioned, and you've never changed your story, I'm more likely to believe you.
Mm-hmm.
Because people forget. They'll forget what lie they told, and then they'll stumble over themselves.
Exactly.
When somebody's telling you the truth from an experience that ripped them open like that, you're not going to forget that stuff.
Nope.
Not like that. Not without counseling or help.
No
your
fucking
family. A lot of different things you would need to get through stuff like that, I would imagine.
I spy. I told a lie. There is one more. And, everybody out there in the Morgrot universe knows that I will always discuss the devil. And in this case, there is one final one I do want to just quickly go over to mention. And that is the exorcism of Emily Rose. This, in fact, was based on a German college student in the 70s who underwent 67. Let that sink in for a second. 67 exorcism rituals.
Yep.
That's a lot, people.
Mm-hmm.
And to that end, she unfortunately died from it.
Yep.
And there's still no real significance. And even the church to this day says that they took away the whole.
The priest
was demonically possessed. And
they destroyed his life, tried to put him in prison.
Oh, man.
You name it. Yeah. Yeah. Even though they had recordings and stuff, when you can hear her voice, that's not her voice by any stretch of the imagination. No. And didn't hear it either when she was speaking it in front of you.
Right.
But then you hear it on the recording. Yeah, no, that lady went through. I can't imagine what she went through, but it wasn't.
I don't even want to think about it. It's unimaginable.
Yeah. Oh, that's another good one, great one.
Sometimes people just don't know when to leave well alone.
Agreed. Agreed.
And the amount of pharmaceuticals involved in that entire process with that poor young lady.
That too.
My
People thinking they know.
Yeah, Babylon, for real. I researched it. It was 67 rituals done. And that is ultimately what destroyed that young lady. So
because even the Exorcist story, or the real story for the Exorcist, didn't go through the ordeal.
Not to that extent. No.
Yeah, not even close.
Nope. Nowhere near.
Yeah. But which one do you hear about more? Exactly. That's why you come to the barbecue to find
out. And besides, possession doesn't even work like that, people.
Learn to throw your voice. Fool your friends' fun party.
And learn when there's a truly a mental disorder that is going on.
That's too, exactly.
Oh, thank you guys so much. This has been an absolute blast. And I love that this was such an abstract idea of film that I don't think really gets talked about a lot. Films that are based on a lot of these legends, that these were things that happen. And we kind of made mention of it before, that a lot of films will say loosely based.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that we talked about were very much based
on
true events.
Or
legends throughout time.
Yeah, exactly. Reoccurring legends throughout history.
And not just the ones that you would think of, like demons and vampires, werewolves, all that stuff. But we will close with, at the end of the day, every legend has truth in it. It's to what end? And do you know which doors to unlock to find out what truth actually lies within the legend? Man, you guys have been fan-fucking-tastic. Babylon actually brings up a really good idea. Can we do a demonic show sometime? You know what? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yes, we can.
That is in your future. Because let's face it, literally probably thousands at this point of films dedicated to the topic alone. I think we can pluck some of the best, the ones that bring you as close to it as possible, the ones that are truly horrifying. We can make that happen if your soul is prepared. But again, look forward to tomorrow evening. Offbeat horror. If you didn't get enough true crime tonight, you're going to get all the true crime that you could possibly want and more tomorrow evening, as we welcome Offbeat Horror to the Underground. And then this Saturday, we will be chatting with Sydney, who is also one of the co-hosts on the goddamn program, as she's going to talk a little bit about her writing career, as well as all the awesome stuff that she's up to. And then, of course, on Saturday, you know what it is. It's time to sin. So get moist, get ready. Let's party. It's going to be a great night. So as you're laying it down for the evening, and you have all these excellent legends and aliens, creatures, things that you cannot explain, the things that are just kind of in the dark, and you've shut off all the lights. And when you see something, stay heavy.
Thank you for joining us on Rebro's Underground. Stay tuned for more from More Grot Entertainment in association with Black Flame Entertainment.